How do we stay in the moment? I mean, it is actually simple, but we've made it so complicated. Uh, Coming back to, we're slaves to our senses, to our five senses. And so we could use that actually in our favor to be one in that moment with the five senses.
So at that particular moment, if I do some breath work, I'll come to the present.
Well, at that particular moment, if you do some breath work, you will calm yourself down too. Because the brain starts spinning faster and faster and faster. And the faster the brain spins, the more anxiety and stress you're going to feel. So if you start just like focusing on breath there, you calm the brain down, it will slow down. You will come into the present moment. Yesterday, I was talking about that in one of the satsangs, is that there is Kal, Akal, and Mahakal. Kal is finite, it's the body. Akal is the soul, and Mahakal is consciousness. The soul and consciousness are ever-present, timeless. You can't bind it by a space and time.
So for this, if we meditate, I think because you're a meditation coach also, you have helped so many people in their journeys. So basically meditation helps us, reach that state. But how long does it take if someone starts meditating from now? They start meditating, because meditation is also not easy. Staying in that moment, emptying your head, it's very difficult. So how much time does it take for a person? Does it differ from person to person? And how much time does a person need to devote every day to it? Hello, Sat Sri Akal, and good morning. Good morning not because the sun is up, but because you have awakened to a journey within. Welcome to Evolve into Oneness, a place where you can find yourself. We have with us Sukhy Mahal ji, who will answer our very important questions. Today, Sukhi ji, I want to talk to you about something that bothers every one of us. We're either living in the past or thinking too much about the future. How do we live now?
Hitesh ji, thank you so much for taking the time out and doing this podcast. I think it's going to help a lot of people because this is a common issue, I would say now, in each person's life, in each individual person's life. How do we stay in the moment? I mean, it is actually simple, but we've made it so complicated. Coming back to, we're slaves to our senses, to our five senses. And so we could use that actually in our favor to be one in that moment with the five senses. If we're talking about being in the now, present with every single thing we're doing. So what do I see? What do I hear? What do I feel? What am I, touching? Like sensory perception to be right here, right now with all that. We're in the now. Or the other way is we can follow the breath, because the breath has no mental concepts. The breath has no thoughts. The breath is like prana, it's life force energy. So if we follow that in and follow that out, we're instantaneously in the present moment.
So what you mean is that if, let us suppose, I'm in a very tense situation. I have a job interview. So what will happen? I'll start thinking of the outcome already, right? What will happen? What will happen? I'll start thinking about the baggages that I'm carrying. So at that particular moment, if I do some breath work, I'll come to the present.
Well, at that particular moment, if you do some breath work, you will calm yourself down too. Because the brain starts spinning faster and faster and faster. And the faster the brain spins, the more anxiety and stress you're going to feel. So if you start just like focusing on breath there, you calm the brain down, it will slow down. You will come into the present moment. Also, it will allow you to know what is true.
Right? What do you mean by what is true?
Because the mind creates stories.
Right.
It's always creating stories. And those stories are based on past experience or future imagination. Like you said, what is going to be the result? What is going to be the outcome? How do we know?
Right.
We're making it up, right? The mind is making it up. It creates stories, and then we follow the story. We start believing the story, and we've created some false reality in our mind. It's the illusion. That is the illusion. So when we catch ourselves, we have to catch ourselves. If we don't catch ourselves, we really have gone on this train. We could be sitting in Surrey and we're mentally gone on a train to Bombay or the other side of the world, and that's all in our head. So we catch ourselves. The first thing is to be aware that, okay, I'm riding the train of fear right now or anxiety, and in that second bring ourselves back, and then have some tools with under our belt that we've mastered or practiced that bring us back to right now, this moment. What is true right now, this moment.
Right. So what you mean is that first we accept, if we're feeling anxious, we have to accept it within ourselves. Yes, that I am feeling anxious.
Yeah.
So what do you do next? Do you stop that thought, or you just let that thought pass? How do you deal with that particular thing?
I think for me, the first thing I would do, is it true? Is this thought true? So you become aware, like you said, yes, you're aware now. I'm anxious, I'm stressed, I'm scared. Usually anxiety is fear. Acknowledge that you're scared, and then question that fear. Question that fear. I'm not going to get this job. You use the example of an interview. I'm not going to get this job. Or if I'm not good enough and there's other people that are better than me. Instantaneously question the fear. Is it true? You don't know.
It's all
You
assumption.
actually don't know. It's all the mind making it up, and it's assumption. So question it instantaneously. The mind has no leverage because you have no evidence to back that up.
Right. So
It will quieten down pretty quick.
So when we are in the present, our body is in the present. So how does it affect our soul, and what is the role of the soul when we are in the present? Is the soul also in present, or the soul is something that is timeless? There is no time attached to it. So what happens inside us when our body is in the present? We're living in that particular moment.
So there's two questions there. It's twofold. So the soul is eternal, is timeless, right? And the soul is ever present. And we mask that with our senses, we mask that with our mind, and we mask that with body anxiety and all of that. So the soul is always timeless. And when we become in our present moment, we actually become one with that soul, that essence. And we tap into what is truth.
Okay.
Everything else is an illusion, right? It's stuff we keep making up. But the soul is like, yesterday I was talking about that in one of the satsangs, is that there is Kal, Akal, and Mahakal. Kal is finite, it's the body. Akal is the soul, and Mahakal is consciousness. The soul and consciousness are ever present, timeless. You can't bind it by space and time, but the form is. So when we come into the moment with the form, with the body and the mind, we tap into actually the soul presence, the consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it. We tap into that, we become one with it, and we feel peace. We feel Anand.
So when you say we feel peace, how do we define peace? Is it beyond happiness and sadness? So how do we define that peace when we are one with ourselves?
I would define it as, so happiness and sadness, first of all, it's reliant on an outside stimulus. I'm happy because I'm on vacation, or somebody would say I won the lottery, or I ate a great meal, or I'm in good company. It's externally reliant, right? We need something outside ourselves mostly. Sadness also. I'm sad because this happened, or because my mind has made up something. Peace is, it's not reliant on anything. It is our natural state. When we don't have our mind constructs, and we don't have all these stories that we're creating, and we take off the layers of the ego. When we're not operating from the ego, we're in this place of peace, and it's a pleasantness, actually. If you want to define it, it's very hard to define peace. That you're pleasant in yourself.
Basically content with yourself.
content.
It doesn't matter what is happening outside.
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing is because each and every one of us, we all struggle with it, right? Living in the present, I think it's the most difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
But when we look at kids,
They
3 years old, 4 years old, they're always in the present, right? They're playing, they're so focused, so attached to the thing they're doing. They're not thinking about the outcome, they're not thinking because they don't have a past. So when any person is growing old, right? If I have a kid and he's growing older, what teaching and what practices should I bring into his life so that when he is growing old, he is able to live in the present?
You know, kids naturally do it. And why do we smile when we think of children is because they're so authentic.
Yeah.
You know? They're authentic, they're doing what they're doing 100%. They can throw a tantrum and they're fully in the tantrum, and then they'll be happy in the next second. And, it's so authentic. So if you wanted to give a lesson to children or to us, even human beings, be authentic.
Oh yes, very very true, but very difficult to do. So how can we be authentic? Because when someone has grown up, someone is in his 30s, 40s, 50s, right? They have had a way that they have lived their life in, and now to break that pattern and being authentic is something that is easy to say but very difficult to put in practice, because you're dealing with a lot of people on everyday basis, businessmen, people from different fields in offices. How can we stay authentic and make everyone who's around us happy in the same way?
I don't think it's your job to make everybody happy. First of all, take that weight off you. That will help you be more authentic. Because you can't make everybody happy. That means you are being a false person all the time, focused on that. What does this person want me to be? What does this person want me to be? What does this person want me to be? You can't make anybody happy. Happiness has to come from them. So take that burden off you, first of all. Then, it's true, and especially sometimes more depending on which culture and background we come from and religion we come from, we have these beliefs that, we should be a certain way. So roles and responsibilities, we related to those, we put on masks. So right now I need to be this way because this role requires that, or I need to be this way because this role requires that, and etc., etc. So then we forget we've got so many masks on. We forget to take them off. So I think in how to be authentic in daily life is, let's not mix it up with responsibility. Right? So responsibility is, I need to do this for this job, or I need to do this for this, etc., etc., etc. But let's not mix that up with responsibility. We have a job to do, we have responsibilities to do, and those are tasks. But I can be fully present in this moment. And what is authenticity actually? When I know I'm eternally a consciousness doing these tasks in a human body. So that might be too much to remember all the time because we haven't tapped into that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, am I being false here? Am I doing, saying this to please this person? Or actually, do I mean it? Ask myself. And authenticity and integrity go hand in hand. Right? So when we're authentic, we're also integral. Am I selling myself here to meet the needs of this other person's wants? Or am I actually, do I believe this? Am I in one with this? Am I like, is this what I am doing, want to be doing, and am I one with it? For example, when somebody takes on a job and they're miserable in that job, they don't like the job, they don't believe in the company, they don't believe in the mission statement of the company, but they need a paycheck. They're not authentic because straight away, I don't believe in your company, I don't believe in what you're doing, I don't like this job, but I'm going to put a mask on to pretend I do because I need the paycheck. We're not integral either. It shows up in our work. It shows up in how we feel. It shows up in, even our productivity, it shows up in. So the moment we start saying, okay, I'm not aligned with the mission statement of this company or this job, I don't like it, I can start looking at, what do I like? What are my beliefs? What are my values? Most people don't even know that.
Yes.
Most people don't even know what are my values, what are my beliefs here, what do I want out of myself, first of all, and how can I align myself with that kind of a company. We've gone on the tangent of a job.
And what I gather from what you are saying is that when we live in the present, we are aware of many things.
Yeah.
Just like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So these are most of these things are that will help us in our outwardly world. But what about inside us? How is staying in the present helping us? Staying in the moment help us spirit, help us inside, who we are from inside, in our journey to find ourselves.
Staying in the moment when we're in between thought, right? So thought is not really the moment, it's a story or an imagination, past or future. When we're in between thought, that is where God lives. So when we're in that place, we are still. When we're still, we're at peace. There is a peace and nothingness for me kind of synonymous. We're not stressed. We're not in any place of drama, trauma, commotion. Our body can self-heal. Our mind is now a co-creator with our consciousness, and there's an intelligence that lives inside each and every one of us that begins to awaken.
So for this, if we meditate, I think because you're a meditation coach also, you have helped so many people in their journeys. So basically meditation helps us reach that state. But how long does it take if someone starts meditating from now? They start meditating, because meditation is also not easy. Staying in that moment, emptying your head, it's very difficult. So how much time does it take for a person? Does it differ from person to person? And how much time does a person need to devote every day to it?
So meditation is a practice that we now, mystically speaking, thousands of years ago, people went into the jungles and, away from the destruction of the world to connect to themselves. And to the self is that God consciousness inside. Really, meditation should be for that, right? We have made it now, we've mixed it up with mindfulness. And mindfulness is like now being in the present moment. So meditation has become, you sit with your breath, you do this, you do that. But actually, it is to awaken the consciousness inside of us. We need to do that because we've become so away from it. The more away from it we are, the longer it may take to connect. So you said, how long does it take? So it depends on how busy you are in your mind. Some people, when they sit and come to our camps, they connect instantaneously. It's like an instant connection, an instant remembrance, and they cry. There's emotion there because that remembrance is so powerful. And some people, they say, I've been meditating, they come and tell us, I've been meditating for years, and I just still feel the same, and I'm stressed and that. So it is different for each person. Meditation, I think, is very necessary. Very necessary, even on, just like if you're taking it from a mindfulness standpoint, to come into the present moment. That present moment will be a gateway into soul recognition and soul remembrance, and getting back to union with self, with that God consciousness.
In your experience, what is the biggest block that people face in life that keeps them away from who they are really?
The biggest block? Fear?
Fear, yeah, of course, fear.
I think fear is a huge block for people, because it's fear, it's derived from past experiences, and then the ego really rides that wave. Either we're in fear or love. And fear has many, many stories. and we can have a bodily reaction to it. So anxiety and stress and depression also kind of, that can follow. So fear is our biggest block.
So people who are depressed in life or have anxiety issues, is it more difficult for them to meditate, or is it the same thing with someone who doesn't have any anxiety, but everyone has baggages, but doesn't have anxiety and depression? How different is for both of them to reach that state?
I think my experience has been people with anxiety, because it's a big difference. The scale from anxiety to calm is a huge difference. They feel it quickly, especially when they come to our camps. The difference they feel inside themselves is immense, because the scale, it's anxiety is here and stillness is here. There's a huge gap. Whereas people in everyday life, they're doing what they're doing and they just want to become still. Maybe they're here and the gap is not as big. So it can sometimes take time to recognize that. But depression, there's many levels, and now we define depression in different ways. But depression, if we're clinically diagnosed and we're on medication, sometimes it can take time, because we've been so heavily masked for so long. But also, I would say depression is a longing for the soul. When I look at it, like people that are diagnosed depressed, it's the longing of the soul to reconnect, and this is not fulfilling it for them, the world. And more often than not, you find that they know there's something more, but they're not connected. And so when we start connecting and start doing that work of spiritually connecting, recognizing, or even just like, what is it that I'm so heavily burdened with, we start taking off those layers, they connect deeper, I would say.
The people with anxiety
and depression. Yeah.
Because
they're aware that this is not real. Most people are like, this is real and this is, and they're in this fallacy where, in Hindi they say Kush Fehmi. We're in this Kush Fehmi that this is real. But people with anxiety, depression, they know already something's wrong.
And because also
something's missing.
Yeah, they're also very sensitive. That also adds up. Yeah. And what about people who are very practical in life? Who live their daily life with a ritual, right? They have a schedule, very practical schedule. They'll go to gym in the morning and everything. Yeah. Are they living in the present, or are they living in the illusion that they're living in the present?
I mean, that's like they have discipline. They have a set schedule and they have discipline. That's control, actually. They want to control their daily life. Not a bad thing if you want to get a certain amount of things done. But are they in the present moment? That depends on their mindset. It doesn't, just because they have a set schedule to do everything, doesn't mean they're in the moment. It just means they're very good at creating a schedule. And they like control. They don't like things to be out of control. They like things in a certain way in their day-to-day basis. Those people actually may be more afraid to tap into something deeper inside of them, because they very much like everything needs to be managed in a certain way. Because authenticity, actually, there's flow. In the moment, there's flow, right? There's changes. I mean, like, there's changes to seasons, there's changes to day and night, there's a lot of change when we're authentic and in the moment. But if we day in, day out, I need to do this at this time, need to do this, and how you react if you don't do it will tell you how away from being authentic you are, and how attached to this rigid schedule and time frame.
So what is that actual feeling when you're living in the present? Because people have different ideas of living in the present, right? So what is that actual feeling?
The feeling for me, it's really a slowing down. And it's a mergence with what I'm doing. Like, I'm actually one with it. So living in the moment, in terms of when I'm in task, I'm living in the moment, everything is easier. We rush, we make mistakes, you can hurt yourself or and it's go and get this done and for the next, because so the mind is always on the next when we're rushing. But for me, when in the moment with that, it's effortless. I feel like things are effortless. There is a flow, and actually there is intelligence and intuition that comes in and makes things easier.
So what are the benefits, if you can tell us few benefits associated with living in the present, living in now? What benefits do we get? Benefits can be any benefits, family life, how does your family life, your finances, and things that are very important to you, and for worldly pleasures also.
The main benefit for living in the moment is we feel better. We're not a victim of anxiety and depression and stress. We feel better in ourselves. Like our outer world is a direct product of our inner world. If we don't feel good, everything else doesn't feel good. So first it starts at home, we feel better. Secondly, relationships are better. If we're in the moment, I'm actually connecting with you now with what you're saying, not with the ideas I have of you or the past stuff you said, and that comes into the moment, and you may say something very refreshing in the moment, but I have a memory of something you said yesterday that was not as refreshing, and I'm still hung up on that experience. So in relationships, they're authentic, they're real, they're now, they're healthier, because we're connecting to what is being done and said now. Money management wise, I think it becomes easier. It becomes easier to earn because first we know what we want to do. We're not selling ourselves just for that paycheck. We know what we want to do. This feels right. This is good. As soon as you know what you want to do, you're in the now with it. You're more productive. Employees, like when we have employees and they're very much excited about what they're doing and they like it, and it's in their field, they're way more productive versus somebody who's forced to be there because of a paycheck.
So it also kills procrastination in a way, because
procrastination and productivity, the speed of productivity increases, and it seems like an oxymoron because we're in the now slowing down, but the productivity does increase, and I've seen it over and over again with myself and other people. We're more productive when we're in the now.
So can we do some little can you tell us about little things that we can do on daily basis to stay in that moment?
Yeah. So beginner level small things is just be conscious of the breath. The breath goes in. It has no thought attached to it. It's an experience. The breath goes in. Follow the breath in. Follow it. Expand the belly. Expand the navel area. Expand the lower back area. Just have that breath go into that stomach area. Expand it. You now are one with the body sensation, the feeling, the breath, and let it follow. Expand then into the rib cage. If you have a minute, hopefully people do have a minute to do this, expand the front, back and sides of the rib cage. Let the breath sit there for a while. Take 20 seconds to do this whole inhale, and then into the chest. Now what we've done is taken prana into our body, which is a cellular nutrition. And most of us are deprived for that because we breathe so shallowly. Now we've taken that breath in 20 seconds, hold it there for 20 seconds. Let the prana go where it needs to go. It's life force energy. Let it go where it needs to go. Let the body do what it needs to do. And then exhale for 20 seconds. Really slow the breath down. What we've just done on a physiological level and a psychological level is slowed everything down and allowed the body to begin to self-heal. If we do that enough, even take 5 minutes, so 5 minutes, 5 breaths, you've given that space to yourself to heal, to become in the moment, and actually know what it's like to not be constantly go, get, out of that place.
So when can we do that? Can we do it any time of the day, or should we do it in the morning or while we're going to sleep? Is there a particular?
Yeah, I don't think there's a specific time to do it. You just whenever you can. And if you catch yourself, awareness is the biggest catalyst to change, I think. If we're aware that now I'm getting stressed or now I'm anxious, catch ourselves at that moment, do that long, deep breath. Do a couple of those, the mind starts to change. The wavelengths change, and what we're thinking about, sometimes we forget, like, what was I stressed about? Anytime. I don't think meditation is different, but I think it's good to create a set schedule for ourselves that works for us, but like to catch ourselves in that moment, to bring ourselves in the moment in a time of anxiety and stress, just sit whenever you can.
Okay, there are two more things that came to my mind, especially about living in the present. One is brain fog. At times it happens with us that we have learned everything, like it's we learned everything, right? If you have an exam or we are doing an assignment or anything, for students especially, and there's a brain fog moment, things and still it slips out of your mind because you're not there anymore, and still you are there, you're doing
Yeah.
that particular thing, your
Yeah.
assignment. So how do students who are have that brain fog at that moment should do in that particular moment? Should they do the breath work, or there are more things, that affirmations? What else can they do?
Brain fog in that moment, having if you're writing an exam and in that moment you have brain fog, I always recommend move on to the next question.
Okay.
Right? Hopefully it's question related, it's not a state. And then your brain starts stimulating, you've gone on to the next question, you've reassured yourself, okay, I can answer this question. Once you've answered that question, go back to the next. So it might be just related to that question. But sometimes we're in brain fog because we're so overloaded. We're overloaded ourselves with so much information that we just can't decipher what is needed at that time. I think at that time we need to slow down. It's recognize that this is going on for me. Is it going on a lot? Or is it like just in this moment? So we take some time out, sleep. If you're talking about a student, sleep, take that time to sleep and rest and eat healthy. That will eliminate a lot of the psychological stress of being a student.
So do you think food also plays a role when it comes to living in the present?
For sure.
What kind of role does it play?
I mean, look, there's a well-known saying, you are what you eat, right? So if we're eating junk food all the time, junk food, the first word is junk. If we're eating junk food all the time, literally what we're doing is putting that into our body, and we're requiring our body to function optimally with junk. It's just not going to happen. So then we eat nutritious foods, and we're eating vegetables and fruits and proteins that are good for our cells, good for our body, good for our physiological and psychological aspects of ourselves. We're replenishing ourselves. We're self-healing. We regenerate the cells at a healthier level. But what we do, if we're eating junk all the time, just try it. You don't feel good. After a couple of days, we feel like, what is carb coma? Carb coma is literally that way. We feel sedentary, we're tired, sugar overload, we can't move, obesity, also from eating unhealthy and eating too much. So eating healthy definitely allows us to think clearer, to feel better, and to move easier.
So what about Indian food? Indian food is generally oily food, right?
Yeah.
We have tadka and a lot of things. And there's also food that is boiled food. So which one is better? Or because they're both home cooked, or they're same, or there's a difference?
Did you say boiled food?
Yeah, boiled.
Food doesn't have to be boring. Actually, Indian food is very good, especially if it's not fried. We can saute, but Indian food is actually very healing at its essence. Now look at Ayurveda, right? It's like using all the spices, using the foods in a very healing way. And we have amazing science related to that. We have spices, and which other culture uses spices as much as the Indian culture?
Yeah.
Right? And those spices are healing. But we've lost the essence of using them efficiently and effectively for healing. And we've just using them for taste. So if we start using them for actually what they do for us, what is the benefit of this spice, what is the benefit of this herb, and start using them in that way, and they taste good anyway. You know, like fruit is God's candy.
That's very
Right.
good.
Yeah. And the herbs and spices, what is better than that? Nothing. I mean, sugar and carbs really don't taste that great. We become addicted to it. But the herbs and the spices and the fruits, they taste amazing. So we go back to Indian food and we go back to the healing properties of it. Indian food is amazing.
Are there any foods that, if you're feeling anxious at the moment, brain fog, any food that can help us get out of it? Any particular food? Like there's superfoods that help give you energy. Anything that helps us during that moment?
Yeah, I'm not really equipped, I think, to answer that question efficiently. But, you know, again, if we go to Ayurveda, ashwagandha is a very good herb, the complexity of herbs, I think it is, that helps with anxiety and stress. But one particular food, I don't have the answer to that. If one particular food can help us with anxiety, I'm not sure, but really having a healthy diet, having an exercise routine, meditating, surrounding ourselves with positivity, you know, that could be nature, that could be in our job place, that could be in our relationships, that will all help.
Thank you so much, Sukhi ji. Thank you so much. And first of all, thank you that you let us pick your mind up so much. Since Sukhi ji has given us so many ideas and some tools and methods we can adapt in our daily lives, because I think each one of us believe that living in the present is the most important thing that we can do in our daily lives. And if you want to really work harder towards it and learn more about it, you can always come to Sukhi ji runs her camps. She has her camps, and she can teach you tools and help you with meditation that can really help you awaken and find your true path. Thank you so much from Evolve into Oneness. Have a good day.